This is what happens when the fourth turning meets fifth generation warfare.
A commentator, international social media sensation, and former Navy intelligence veteran.
This is Human Events with your host, Jack Posobiec.
Christ is
We're here for a very serious purpose, Something's out of control, but we're going to put it in control very quickly like we did on the southern border. I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back.
Trump posting, "The homeless have to move out immediately. We will give you places to stay, but far from the Capitol." Trump has suggested in the past that the federal government should take over the city and threatened to have the feds step in after a former worker for Elon Musk's Doge Group was assaulted during an attempted carjacking last week.
We have a capital that's very unsafe. We're going to do something about it.
Over the weekend, more than 100 federal agents were deployed across D.C. in a massive anti-carjacking operation. Trump also suggesting trying young teenagers as young as 14 as adults.
I thought it was very respectful that the president of Russia is coming to our country as opposed to us going to his country or even a third-party place. But I think we'll have constructive conversations. Then after that, the next meeting will be with Zelensky and Putin, or Zelensky and Putin and me. I'll be there if they need.
President Trump preparing for a historic and high-stakes summit with Vladimir Putin, inviting the Russian president to U.S. soil for the first time in nearly 10 years.
I think my instinct really tells me that we have a shot at it. We have a shot at it. Look, it's got to be solved.
The president has already suggested any deal would involve, quote, swapping of territories, something Volodymyr Zelensky has made clear he will not do, saying Ukrainians will not give their land to the occupier.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard today's edition of Human Events Daily here live, Washington, D.C. Today is August 11th, 2025, Anno Domini. Human Events Daily is back. Incredible trip to Poland. Had the opportunity to attend the inauguration of the great new populist nationalist president, Karol Nawrocki, there in Warsaw. And of course, we also got to see the news that Karol Nawrocki, the president of Poland, will soon be visiting the U.S. president here coming up in September. But here's something that's interesting that was breaking while we were over in Poland. President Trump made a series of statements gearing up towards and really building towards what we saw today in the White House. The liberation of Washington, D.C., and what President Trump announced this morning, the federalization of the Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police Department. Now, this is being done under invoking the Home Rule Act of Washington, D.C. And of course, he has all and full constitutional authority to do this. It's certainly something that is within his legal remit. And more to the point, it's something that needs to be done because of the outrageous street violence in Washington, D.C. Look, I don't need to go to these statistics, although I would point out that one of the commanders of the D.C. police force was just fired for cooking the books or juking the stats. That's what they were doing. Crime in Washington, D.C. is out of control. And I don't have to go to some, random source of statistics and all this to know. I know this because I take my kids here, all right? Because I've been here for all this time. Tanya and I, when we go down to Washington, D.C., we know you stay within a very strict corridor. You don't step out of that. And you certainly don't go out for too long after night with little kids. Because after that falls, absolute chaos. And you see the stories again and again. A guy being shot and killed while defending his girlfriend. Carjackings all over the place, in many cases, fatal. All right, this is nuts. It's completely insane. And so thank God President Trump is now coming in. And he's also, by the way, going to be bringing in the National Guard to be able to go in and clean up the streets. Bravo, President Trump. Thank God. Clean it up, not only in terms of the crime, but you got to get the drugs off the street too. the drug dealers, the people who are walking around. The whole city smells like drugs all the time, even in the tourist areas. You can't take children anywhere, right? It smells disgusting. It smells awful. It's clearly something that's not, as they say, it's just not reflective of what our national capital should be. And I was in Poland last week. I was in the Polish national capital. Guess what? Their murder rate, less than 1 per 100,000. Less than 1. In Washington, D.C., it's 41. So murder rate is 60 times lower in Warsaw, which is a city that has a larger, I believe, has a larger population than Washington, D.C. It's certainly much bigger geographically. And so why is this? It's very simple. Because they take the laws seriously. And because if you break the law in Poland, if you break the law in Warsaw, you're going to go away. They're not going to let you right back out on the street. No. Washington, D.C. has lost its ability and lost its privilege of self-rule. And honestly, when I hear President Trump say, we want to take a look at New York and Baltimore and Detroit and Chicago and Philadelphia and Los Angeles, I say, thank God. Thank God we have a president who actually wants to fix the problems of the public lawlessness in this country. We need law and order all across the United States of America, and we need it now. The citizens of the United States are in your debt for this, President Trump. God bless you. You're right back, Jack Posobiec.